Public policy dilemma. Since the days of Frank Knight, economists have differentiated between the two. Differences between risk and uncertainty. Risk has a known probability distribution. For uncertainty, the probability distribution is unknown. COVID 19 makes us confront uncertainty, not risk. For uncertainty, there is a subjective probability distribution, which can and does vary from individual to individual. Subjective probability distribution. Through information and experience the individual already possesses. Thorough information and experience the individual already possesses. There are various rationality assumptions used by economists. They are often violated. Otherwise, behavioral economists wouldn't have taken off. Typically, given a situation when your decision doesn't agree with someone, you say they are being irrational. However, with uncertainty, the problem may not be with rationality assumptions, but the differences in subjective probability distribution. Availability of data affecting various factors. Because of COVID 19, there is a certain risk of getting infected. Let's call this the infection rate. Total infections divided by the total population. We don't know this infection rate for India or for any other country for that matter. No country has done universal testing. No country has done universal testing for a proper random sample either. The ICMR has told us more than 75% of Indian patients will be asymptomatic. Who do we test? Those who show symptoms, those who have been in contact with confirmed patients, and those who suffer from severe respiratory diseases. Most countries do something similar. In other words, when we work out an infection rate based on those tested, there is a sampling bias. This is not a proper infection rate. The only country where we have had something like a random sample is Iceland. There, the infection rate was 0.8%. Death rate. There are similar caveats about the rate. If we mechanically divide the number of deaths by the number of confirmed cases for India, we will get a death rate of just over 3%. The global figure is a little less than 7%. But neither of this is a death rate for the total population, since only those with severe symptoms are included in infection numbers. 3% or 7% are overestimates. In a controlled environment like Diamond Princess, death rate as a total passengers and not those infected was less than 0.4%. The true infection rate and true death rate are not alarming numbers. What does this have to do with differential subjective probability distributions? There are slices in India's population pyramid. There are slices in India's population pyramid with rural or urban and other spatial differences too. Consider two extreme types. Type A, who are globalized in information access and morbidity. Life expectancy is 80 plus and there are lifestyle diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure. This comorbidity increases possible death rates, and thanks to globalized access to information, it certainly increases perceptions about death rates, making them out to be higher than they are. Some of them have fixed incomes regardless of what happens to lockdown. Therefore, if you think in terms of maximizing expected payoffs with a subjective distribution, high probability is attracted to loss of life and low probability of loss of livelihood. How type B forms a subjective probability. Type B, someone whose life expectancy is 60, without a fixed income system and whose health concerns are TB and waterborne diseases, not COVID 19, nor is access to information that globalized. High subjective probability will be attached to loss of livelihoods and low probability of death from COVID 19. Both, both types reflect subjective probabilities. Neither is irrational. There is tension between the two. Type A would like the lockdown to continue indefinitely until the long tail of the infection curve tapers off, perhaps beyond September. Type B would like lockdown to be eased soon with necessary restrictions in hotspots. There is indeed a tension between lives and livelihood, even if death, health outcomes and information accesses are like type A, but income is contingent on growth. Preferences might mirror type B. Balancing differential individual preferences in public policy. Type A disproportionately influences policy. This determination of aggregate preferences is a dynamic process. Therefore, sooner or later, type B contains this, and as the lockdown is prolonged and livelihood cost mount, discontent surfaces as it has across a range of countries. There were also welfare economics notions that predated social choice theory, such as compensation principles of Kaldor, Hicks, and Shyvosky. The point can be made using two stereotypes. Specifically, type A need to compensate type B for their losses. To state it starkly, livelihood losses suffered by type B need to be compensated by the government through redistributive measures, and this has to be financed by higher taxes imposed on type A. The right question for the type A is not whether they want the lockdown to continue, but whether they are willing to pay a COVID tax to support lockdown extension. So the conclusion is, increasing or decreasing the lockdown decision illustrates the public policy dilemma. Without a revival in growth, the tax paying capacity of type B is limited, and with job losses, some type A's becoming type B's, the choice is starker. With reference to the draft new rules for satellite TV channels, consider the following statements and correct one, right one. All channels have to take security clearances from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Once granted, the clearance is valid for 10 years. What are the major causes of the public policy dilemma? How do balancing differential individual preferences in public policy?